library. We're back. So today we're going to be doing a fabulous paper craft. I found it in the book Paper Made by Kate Terry. It's actually a book from our Tulare Public Library collection. So if you're interested, please explore and you can place a hold on Valley Cat. Today we're going to be making a signed, sealed, delivered accordion book. So I just wanted to give you a sense of what it'll look like before we start. You'll notice a picture of it done here. The reason I thought this would be a great idea for our craft is since everyone has had a little bit more time at home, I'm sure you, like me, have been doing a lot of organizing, going through drawers, decluttering. So this is a great thing to make with materials that you have at home, a great thing you can do with your kids. And as we go through it, I'll give you a better sense of all of the ways that you can purpose it for organizing around your home. So let's go through the materials that we'll be using today. So I have my hot glue gun here plugged in and ready to go. If you don't have a hot glue gun, you can use a glue stick, Elmer's glue, any type of adhesive. Tape works either. I also have a glue stick in use because I'm going to be using these for two different things. But again, if you only have one type of adhesive, that's absolutely great. I've got a pair of scissors. I've got 6 envelopes. You can use envelopes for cards, mailing envelopes, whatever size and shape you have are great. This original pattern calls for 6, but if you wanted to have less pockets in your accordion folder, you can do that. If you wanted to have more, you could adjust as necessary. I also have 2 pieces of cardboard. I actually cut mine out, as you'll see, great grain cereal box that I was all done with. If you have cardstock or any types of other paper products, you can use that. You just want it to have some firmness to it because it's going to be outside of your accordion folder. The way I've measured this out is to make it just slightly bigger around the edges than the envelopes that I'll be using, just to get some nice coverage there. So I've got 2 of those. You're also going to want to use decorative paper of your choice. So I actually cut out 2 magazine pages from a cooking magazine because the accordion folder that I'm going to be doing today will be for storing recipes. If you wanted to do a sports themed accordion folder, you could find any types of pictures or paper for that. If you wanted to use this accordion folder for different things that you've gotten from your travels, you could use an old map page or an atlas page and create a travel folder for souvenirs, things like that. And then I've got decorative strips of paper here. You don't have to have these, it's not essential, but I did cut out the same size as my magazine pages just to put a little flourish on the covers here. And then last but not least, I have a decorative sticker that I brought just in case we want to pizzazz it up a little bit. And then I have 2 lengths of ribbon that we're going to be using to tie the folder all together. So again, not essential, but if you want to close your accordion folder, then you can use twine, ribbon, anything you have around the house. Lastly, I just have a little Sharpie for writing. I'll show you what I'm going to use that for at the end. All right, so I think we can get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is use the envelopes to create the actual accordion folders of this folder. So I have 6 envelopes here. I'm going to do these one at a time. So what you're going to do first is open the flap of the envelope face up, and then we're going to be using our glue stick to cover the open flap of the envelope here. So I hope this isn't too hard to see. You'll notice, so this is the open side of my envelope, and where I'm going to be placing the glue is on the open triangular flap at the top. Okay, so I'm going to use my glue stick here. I find that glue stick is great for this part because it's a great adhesive, but it doesn't create crinkles or rippling in your envelopes, which is great. Okay, so I've got this surface covered in glue. What I'm going to do, you'll notice I have my next envelope with the flap open. I'm going to place the bottom side of the envelope on top of the open flap here. So I'm going to align the bottom with the straight edge and then press down to it here. So if you look at the back of it, you'll notice the open flap, the open triangular flap is up and above, and then if you look at it forward, one envelope is on top of the other one. And I'm just going to do that all the way down. So again, I'll keep this facing you, so I'm going to use my glue stick, put it on the inside upper flap. This is my next envelope, flat side open, facing up, and I'm gonna align the bottom with the line there. Okay, so I'm gonna do all of these. I'll do the last three a little bit more quickly. Again, if you wanted to have less pockets in your folder or more pockets, you would just use as many envelopes as you deem necessary. That one is a little bit crooked, but that is okay. Perfection is not the name of the game. Okay, so one more time, open flap up. I'm going to cover it with glue stick, and I'm going to align as best I can my envelope here. And last but not least, we're going to do the final one here. Okay, so when you get to the top of your envelope, chain. The other nice thing about glue stick is you can peel it up and realign if you need to. Okay, so I've got my 6 envelopes in a chain here. With the last envelope that I've glued, I'm going to fold the top flap over, and I'm going to glue that to the back of the top of the envelope. Okay, so I'm folding it over. Now I'm going to put glue on the back of the top flap and simply glue it down. And that is just to get rid of that flap of paper so that you're dealing with clean, straight edges. All right, so I've got my envelopes here. What I'm now going to do is just fold them up in an accordion style. So I've got this, I'm going to go down, and up. So I've got one edge here, and I've got the other edge here. Okay, so now we're going to move on to creating our covers. So I'm going to take the cardboard that I have measured out just to be slightly bigger than the envelopes, and I'm going to cover those with my outside paper. So I'm going to put the envelopes there. So what you're going to do for this, I want this to be the side that shows. So I'm going to put the outside face down. I'm going to add glue to my cardboard cover, and I'm going to center this cardboard square within the page of the magazine. Okay. Now you want it to look like there's about 1 inch of space on either side. That'll make it easier to peel over. So if you're using magazine pages, don't cut those or trim those at the start, just use the full page. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the triangles of the corners so that it's easier to peel over and glue. So all I'm going to do is cut off that triangle of the corner, cut off this corner, same thing all the way around. This just gets rid of excess paper that will be hard to pin down. Okay. So now I've got it in this shape with my cardboard in the middle. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my hot glue for this just because it's a little bit better of an adhesive than the glue stick. But again, whatever adhesive you're using is great. So all I'm going to do is put a line, or you could even do dots of glue. I'm going to put a little bit here and a little bit here, and I'm going to fold this over. Now, as I have found the hard way, be really careful because magazine pages are very thin and hot glue is very hot. So this is another reason I have my Sharpie here. Rather than pressing down with your fingers, you can press down with the Sharpie so that you're not having to make contact with the glue. I'm going to do the same thing all the way around, just creating a line of glue that I can cover and fold. And you'll notice because we cut away the triangular corners, they create a nice neat fold with no excess material. All right, so if I flip it, I have my beautiful, delectable looking recipe here. So that's the first one done. So now very quickly, I'm going to do the same thing with my other cover. So again, this is the page that I want showing. So I'm gonna put that face down. I'm gonna cover my cardboard in glue stick and center that within the magazine page with about 1 inch space all the way around. And then again, I'm going to cut off my corners to get rid of the excess material. Okay, and then once again, I'm going to use my handy dandy glue gun fingers stick to each other with all of this hot glue. So now when you look at it, you'll see this beautiful portrait here. All of the edges have been glued down. Okay, so I have my 2 cardboard endings. Now, you could leave, if you had a magazine photo that you wanted to use, you could just cover it in that and call it quits. But the other thing you can do is add pieces of decorative scraps. This is tissue paper from my gift wrap closet, and I've just cut it a little bit wider than the cardboard covering. So if you wanted to add some more decoration to it, you could definitely do that. So I'm going to, because I like a pop of color. So all I'm gonna do is line those up on the outside to make sort of a border here, and then I'm just gonna put a dot of glue on the inside and fasten those down as well. Again, be careful, this is tissue paper, which is even thinner than my magazine, and I wanna make sure that I'm not burning myself with the hot glue. Just a dot there, and a dot there. Okay, so when you flip it, you'll notice that now I have the beautiful strawberries, and I also have some decorative fun paper. I had some really fun letter stickers in my craft box, so if you wanted to, you know, I'm gonna be doing this for recipes. If I had an R for recipes, I could put that on the outside. I have a B for Brittany here, so I'm just gonna stick that, just stick whatever you want, wherever you want, make it fun. So those are my 2 extra decorations there that you can create as well. Okay, so now that I have my 2 covers, I want to adhere them to the envelopes and then also bring in my ties. So let's do this one step at a time. Okay, so I'm going to take my first cover and I'm going to take one side of my envelope accordion. So if you have your envelope stretched out, you just want to make sure that you're using the outside of one of the edges. So what I'm going to do here, and again, make sure that the outside edge that you want to be seen is lined up with that properly. So I'm going to, and you know what, I'm going to do this with my glue stick. If I had a little more hot glue, I'd probably do it with that just because it'll be a better adhesive, but for our purposes now, this is okay. So I'm going to cover the outside of the envelope of the accordion with glue, and I'm simply going to line up the cover with the bottom here. And if you open it and look, it's really nice because the edge is aligned, but there's a little bit of extra space around the sides and the top here. So I just want to make sure that is nice and stuck down. Okay, so that's one of our edges. Now, with the other edge, you want to adhere the cardboard outside, but then you also want to include your twine or your ribbon if you want something to tie the accordion folder with. So the way that I'm going to do this, and I will use the hot glue gun for this, is I want to put my ribbon just in the inside cover here. I'm going to put 2 pieces so that I can tie it. I'm going to put that, make that stick with a little bit of hot glue, and then I will glue down the rest of the cover. So just to make sure that sticks, I'll put that there. Okay, now just with the last one, I'm going to be lining up the outside. Now this should be the side that we've glued the top cover down on the back side of it. That wasn't too confusing. So I'm going to align the other side with my cardboard cover here again. So I want to make sure the bottom matches up, and I want to make sure there's a little bit of extra space around the sides. Now the one thing you do want to make sure is that your 2 cardboard covers are aligned. So mine is a little bit wonky here, but that's okay. So another good way to do this is to close your accordion folders and align the edges that are going to be stuck together. That's another great way to make sure it's neat and tidy. But for our purposes, I think this is going to work. Okay, so I'm just going to put an extra dot of glue here because that was the one thing, the one place that it was coming unstuck a little bit. Okay, so I've got the ribbon pin between the envelope and the outside cover. I've got my cover sticking together. And now I'm just going to do one final push to make sure all the glue is sticking. So now when you open this, you'll notice your beautiful outside covers, mine with recipes. And this is a place that I can keep all of my clip outs for recipes, things that I want to save together. The other great thing about this is you can just use a colorful pen or a Sharpie and write, you know, if I want to keep my lunch recipes separate from my breakfast recipes, You can label the envelopes to indicate what's going to be inside of each of these pockets. Let's do dessert, the best of all. Again, if you were doing this for travel souvenirs, you could label by the place. Put that so you can see it. And then again, as you're going to keep things, then you can just accordion fold it up. And now that you have your ribbons here, you can always wrap around. You could tie it in a beautiful little bow. And you have a really compact organizational system that you made using recycled materials from around your house, which is fabulous. So there we go. I just wanted to let you guys know, thank you so much again for joining me. I do want you to mark your calendars on Thursday, June 4th at 12 p.m. We will be doing a live mindful craft put on by Gail from the Mindful Veteran Project. It will be on Zoom. We have a Facebook event set up, so come visit us on social media to get all the details. We hope to see you there. Everyone, take care, and thank you so much for joining me today.